Welcome back, survivors, to year 10 of our Cynically Awesome Kingdom Death Monster Dream Keepers campaign. This year we don't have a choice. We have to fight Atnus, the Child Eater. This is a nemesis showdown that's predetermined and what I like to call health checks during a playthrough. I've brought 4 of what I think are my best survivors, meaning that if anyone dies, it's going to be a massive loss to the settlement. From right to left, we have Mike, our trusty scout, who's got a stone-faced coat, crimson folds, a scout lantern, and a blood glass guitar. But what he's really got going for him is he has Guardian 2, which allows him to give any survivor within his line of sight a free reroll. Let's not forget that we also have some lifetime rerolls amongst our survivors here, but some extra security could go a long way. Beside him, we have Nami Bold. She's got the dredges of our settlement, but a ham fluter, crocodile eyes, and quixotic, which activated, giving her an extra strength. Just because she has a mixed match of equipment doesn't mean that she's not going to be helpful. Then we have Sandy, our legendary lungs, butcher's cleaver survivor. She doesn't have much, but she too has Guardian 2. So that, paired with the axe and legendary lungs, will hopefully give us a victory today. Then we've got Sarah Paz. She's got a singing set and a lantern sword, but she also has the sword specialization. Thanks to everything that happened last year, she was able to jump all the way from 0 to 3 in her weapon proficiency. So we'll see how that comes into effect. Hopefully she doesn't die, so that when she has future generations after her, they will gain half of her proficiency levels. And in the best case scenario, we can make her a sword master. And lastly, we have Ben, who's traded up his blood glass guitars for razor symbols. He's also got Blood Dancer 3 and some bandages just in case bleeding becomes an issue. He starts off with 2 bleeding tokens thanks to his crimson armor set, but hopefully that's all that happens. Now, while these are some of my best survivors, they're also some of my most hardened. We've got Nami with a broken leg, Sandy who's blind, and Sarah who's got both. Not to mention Ben and Sandy both have facism. So that means they only want to attack the monster in the face, which may prove to be a problem. Atnus, of course, has a slew of his own special rules, but I'll get into more detail about them when they apply. For now, the intro. There's presents in its sack. It eats children for a snack. And there's a gleam in its eye that's pitch black. Here we have Atnus in all of his jolly glory. I have to say, this is quite the interesting model, seeing as he's just a nemesis, but he towers above the king and rivals the gambler. But here he is. Normally, survivors attack first when a nemesis shows up to their settlement. Unfortunately, the monster is horrifying, and Atnus goes first. So, Atnus' turn begins. When his turn begins, he deals out a Swordcraft card, thanks to his trait, Mad Master. At the start of the monster's turn, Atnus extends its sword precisely 1 inch from its teeth. Deal a Swordcraft card face down to a survivor, keeping the number of cards between survivors as even as possible. Swordcraft here are these deck of cards. Amongst here are different attacks or abilities. And Atnus has a different trait called Spark of Joy, which will cause these cards to activate, or as I like to call it, explode. These are time bombs, and how well we can mitigate them is really up to us. But seeing as these are time bombs, I would typically want to give them to the worst among us, at least starting off. But Atnus has another ability during setup. It's actually a survivor status called Master's Presence. This is specifically given to whomever amongst the survivors has the most sword proficiency. And wouldn't you know it, we only have one person who follows that criteria. Master's Presence says, when you gain a Swordcraft card, peek at it for 1 second for each of your sword proficiency levels. When Atnas performs Spark of Joy, you feel an immense pressure of a slumbering sword saint. If you have a sword, you tap into that feeling and may deflect 1. Deflect 1 is super useful. It allows you to cancel out 1 hit. So we'll see how this works. We'll give the first Swordcraft card to our up-and-coming Sword Saint, which means we get 3 seconds to look at this. Let's make sure it's worth it. Ready? That's it. So, I was actually too busy counting to really pay attention. But from what I saw, I noticed 2 things. 1, it didn't say move and attack. 2, the pattern on it was pretty simple. It looked like just a burst this way. But I don't know how that works because the monster icon wasn't on the attack. So is it done from his perspective, or is it done from the map's perspective, or is it done from the survivor's perspective? Actually, I'm not entirely sure, and we'll have to figure it out once it comes up. But enough stalling. That's the preamble done. Atnas's first attack. 4-inch draw. Atnas laughs, causing its great belly to jiggle unpleasantly. All non-blind survivors in its field of view suffer 1 brain damage. Non-blind, you say? Well, we've got 2 blind people. Our axe and our sword. Now, field of view is basically everything, except for the blind spot. So everyone else will suffer 1 brain damage. A lot of our survivors here actually have a lot of brain, so I'm not too scared about that. The next step says, with a precise flick of its wrist, Atnas extends its blade 4 inches from its sheath. Deal 4 Swordcraft cards face down to survivors, keeping the number of cards between survivors as even as possible. Well, time to just give everyone a Swordcraft card. So if we thought we could plan out how to deal with them, we are sorely mistaken. But for now, that's it. Luckily for us, he didn't hurt anyone. But now we've got a little buildup of Swordcraft cards. So all that's left for us to do is to attack. So let's start with our sword user here, who has the best chances of dealing wounds. Sarah's going in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thankfully you can reach there with your broken leg. But we've got 3 dice. Hitting on 5s becomes 6s. Ooh, triple 6. The number of the beast. This can only be a good omen. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, Atnas's toughness is 11. The highest we've seen yet. My strength is 3. My innate strength is 2. Puts us to 5. So we actually need a 6. Which would be difficult. But thanks to the Lantern Sword, I get to roll 2 dice for this. So now it's a matter of picking the right order of operations here. We have Infectious Giggle, Jangling Krakow's, and Knobby Knuckles. All of these locations will cause Atnas to be knocked down, as well as the survivor. So I'm going to go with the Infectious Giggle first. Actually, if I fail this, I should go with the Jangling Krakow's first. Looking for a 6 on 2 dice. 7 plus 9 is 16. That is a wound. Atnas falls to its knees, howling with laughter. The monster is knocked down. Unless the attacker is deaf, Atlas trills pierce their eardrums, knocking them down as well. Now that I'm knocked down, all these remaining attacks go to waste. But we find ourselves in a pretty good position here. If you remember from Smog Singers, a knockdown monster is very good for us. it means attacks will hit on 3s, and it means that we can ignore reactions. Just as we saw with that, a lot of those reactions were bad. So it means future attempts won't have to deal with that same problem. I'll use a token to jot down that the sword user was successful in wounding, meaning that if they survive this encounter, they get another point in their sword proficiency. But as for everyone else, I want to have Mike here turn around and 1, 2, 3, try mining this ore vein. Ugh, with just a 1, nothing happens. Archive the terrain. Unfortunate. Getting iron is actually really critical for the mid to late game. But we're going to have to settle. Mike will instead encourage our sword user back up. Actually, I want to make sure I'm not losing my spot here. Or was it here? It was here. Now that Sarah's back up, we'll have her actually use up 2 of her tokens. She was at 4 survival. Now she's at 6. Now we spend 1 for Surge, and then we can use the remaining token to bring her back up to 6, thanks to Tenacity 3. That's all of our tokens used up, but we're back at maximum. 3 attacks now hitting on 3s because we ignore accuracy. That is 2 hits. So here we have the satin sleeve and the luxurious cap. Of course, we can ignore these reactions and just start rolling on them, looking for 6s. 16. Wound. Luxurious cap. 14. Wound. Now Nami here has the Ham Fluter, which has an innate ability called the Ballad of Perfection. She can spend her action and archive 7 cards from the wound stack to perform the ballad. All survivors increase their perfect hit range by 1. That's an okay ability. That would be a pretty cool ability if any of our survivors cared about perfect hits. None of our survivors do. However, the reason why it's important in this scenario is that Atlas started the game with 5 wounds in its wound stack already. Didn't mean that we did 5 wounds to it or that it has more health than it does. He has a special rule that puts 5 cards there, and possibly throughout the showdown, those wounds can come back as moods. I'm here to invalidate that entirely. By archiving wounds from the wound stack, I am removing those cards so that they can never come back. So, perform the action, the ballad happens, I'm archiving 7 cards. Now, can someone tell me whether I archive from the top or the bottom or randomly? Because I don't know. It just says from the wound stack. I would assume it means from the top. I think any interpretation really works here, but I'm going to do from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Meaning that there is still 1 left in his stack. And that 1, I know, is a mood card. So if we can do 6 more wounds to him, I can perform the ballad again. I can get it out of the game. But for now, you can go, since I've already done some of your actions here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because your legs are broken. Then we'll have you Surge, bring you down to 5 survival. Ham Fluter has 2 dice, hitting on 3s thanks to knockdown. 2 more hits. 1, 2. Strength is 3, plus an innate 2, plus Crocodile Eyes, puts us to 6. Plus Quixotic puts us to 7. So I'm looking for 4s. He's still knocked down, so we ignore these reactions. So Jaunty Knee is a fail. Grasping Beard is a wound. So that's a potential weapon proficiency for you. Okay, who is next? We go 1, 2, 3, 4. Butcher's Cleaver. or should it be the Qatar user? The Butcher has strength of 6. The Qatars have strength of 4, 5, 6, 7. So you know what? The odds are better. Wherever you were. I think you were here. The Qatars are better off. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, wait a minute. That's not. 1, 2, 3, 4. Four dice. This hits on 3s. The Razor Simples has a special ability that they can roll one at a time and make the monster have less evasion, but we ignore all that because of knockdown. Or possibly not, but I'm just going to roll these all at once, and if I'm shooting myself in the foot, it's fine. 3 hits. 1, 2, 3. Alright, let's go for the Dashing Coat button. This is looking for 4s. An 8 will wound. Then we do the Giggling Grimace. A 5 will wound. And lastly, the Knobby Knees, which is a +2 toughness. So now this becomes 6s. And a 9 will do it. Another wound. So we're going to, what, keep the momentum up and surge, spending a survival, and attacking one more time. Three hits. 1, 2, there it is. Sword Cane. The Trap. All survivors are doomed. Your strike harmlessly glances off the monster's ornate cane, eliciting a fit of giggles. Just as suddenly, with a huge sweeping motion, a solemn Atnus produces a dazzling blade from the cane's sheath. If there are no swordcraft cards in play, the attacker gains 1 swordcraft card. Perform Spark of Joy. So, when a trap appears, monster stands up. Spark of Joy says, Atnus's blade bursts from its sheath. End all other ongoing actions. Survivors take turns flipping and resolving 1 swordcraft card. Continue to cycle through survivors 1 cards at a time until all cards are resolved. If a survivor dies, continue to resolve cards on their corpse before removing the model. Interesting. So basically all these bombs go off on us. I guess I get to pick the order, but I have no reason to believe any one order is better than the other. And unfortunately all survivors are doomed, so I can't find a window of opportunity here to spend survival to dash out of the way of potential attacks coming in. So I'll just do this from my left to right, starting with Nami. She gets the Guillotine Whirl. So according to this, if I'm to understand, we place this as if it's directly over top the target, I guess irrespective of where Atnus is. Then anyone who's in this field gets hit. So that would mean our sword user also gets hit. So Atnus has an accuracy of 2, and we determine individually whether or not people get hit by it. 8, without any sort of accuracy or evasion modifiers added to it, we know that it'll hit both of them. However, she has Deflect 1, which means that she can take that hit and cancel it outright. She doesn't take it, but that's her only saving grace for it. You are not so lucky. You have to take this. And not only do you have to take this, it has the effect, after you get hit, Headhunter, meaning that this hit goes onto your head for 3 damage. You have 1 head armor remaining, and we can't do anything about that. No dodging, nothing. but these cards get discarded after they trigger. Qatar. Westward Slash. Now this matters for our orientation here. We have a North Star on the map here just as a reference to say what is north, south, east, and west. So from this perspective, that would mean everyone here gets hit except for the axe user. And I can't do anything about that. It's another synchronic attack, meaning everyone is getting hit. Another 8 means that everyone cannot dodge it regardless of their evasion. It's 3 damage, so let's go left to right. Qatars. Waist. Sword. Chest. Nami. Hands. And our scout all the way over here minding his own business. Head. 3 damage. Light injury. Light injury. 1 armor to the chest. Heavy injury. And not only that, it's knocked back 10 to the west. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I believe you get knocked down if you would land on a friend. Actually, by that logic, let me be this way. You just be knocked down in a adjacent spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You actually don't get knocked back, or knocked down rather. And you 10 all the way over here. Sword user. So now we actually have to place this like this. Actually, put that there. I thought she would also get knocked into her and also be knocked down, but that's not the case. So here, only these 2 survivors are getting hit. Still hitting on the 2+. A 2. Sarah has an evasion of 1, so she is missed by this. And Ben also has an evasion of 1. You are also missed by this. Congratulations. You both don't get hit. Sandy. Yours isn't an attack. Atnis's blade massively traces a lifetime of pain. Every broken injury, broken nail, or skinned knee you have suffered throughout your life is expertly replicated. For each permanent injury you have recorded, suffer it again. Oh no. That means she suffers blind again, which means it's recorded twice, which means our legendary lungs is fully blind. A survivor with 2 blind severe injuries suffers -4 permanent accuracy and retires at the end of the next showdown or settlement phase, having lost all sight, and gains a bleeding token. That's not good. Well, we lose legendary lungs, essentially. So she has -5 accuracy. That was the worst possible thing she could have gotten. And she is now essentially useless. And the Scouts card. Eastward Slash. Guess what? Hits all of you guys. It will push you all the way back this way. Looking for 2s. A 9. Hits everyone. So, Qatar. Feet. Sword. Waist. Club. Feet. Scout. Head. Oh, the Scout is dead. The Scout is dead. No way. That's 3 severe injuries to the head. So here we go. A 6. A 1 dead. Nope. Nope, that's dead. You are exploded. Dead. And then everyone gets the knockback. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hello. 10. Hello. 10. Hello. Well, our Scout is dead. That was virtually unavoidable. Now the only one remaining on my team is Sandy, who has no eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, but she also has fixated, which means she needs to encourage you up. You need to dash out of the way. Just to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, because you have broken legs. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we make this attempt, I don't know, tens. Hey, look. 1 hit. Because with the minus 5, that 7 becomes a 2. And I need 5s to hit. But a 10 is always a hit. So, congrats to me. The noble jellyfish. Atnus churns, exposing the undulating bell of the noble jellyfish clinging to its back. If you're attacking with a melee weapon, you may end your attack before striking the horrors swimming within. No, I won't stop. The reflex is that he performs Spark of Joy. I don't care. All the Swordcraft cards have been used up. There are 4, 5, 6, looking for 5s. A 2 is a no. He performs Spark of Joy, doesn't matter. And while it really doesn't matter, we'll Surge, fish for a 10, not get it, end our turn. It's Atnus' turn again. We give it to the sword user again, so we get 3 seconds. Ready? Understood. So now that I understand how these work, I know how I want to avoid this. But I don't know when it would trigger. So there's only so much planning I can do. Your turn, proper. 4-inch draw. Okay, come on. Come on now, come on. Deal 4 cards face down. Where there was once 5 survivors, there are now only 4. So one person gets 2. You might think, oh, well, you know, at least he didn't attack you. Yeah, he didn't attack me, but he killed me on my turn. So I don't think that really works. I'm going to put the second card on the sword user, so we got another 3 seconds here. Ready? Okay. Understood. I don't know how I'm going to avoid that one, but I can try my best. And also, not to mention, non-blind survivors suffer a piddly 1 brain damage. Okay, now what do we do? I guess we just have the sword user keep trying. 3 attacks, hitting on 6s. Hit, hit, not a hit. Stance punked. First strike. Atnus stands and faces the attacker. -4 toughness to wound this location. Okay, so that makes your 11 a now toughness 7. So Lantern Sword 3, 4, 5. I'm looking for 2s. I technically fail because a 1 is a fail. So I don't wound. I don't perform limbic stimulation. I'll put that away. Back to the normal stuff here. Satin sleeve. 12. That's a pass. That's 1 normal wound. Alright, that's a pretty good momentum. Let's try again. Surge. 3 attacks, 6s. 1 hit. That's fine. Slow and steady. Grasping Beard. 17. That's a wound. So that's you done. So if I want to get out of danger range here, how do I do it? The attacks, if I recall, were 3 wide. So I should go something like 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you have broken legs? You do. But maybe if I could do 4 like that. Yeah, that way if it goes this way, it'll only hit you. If it goes that way, so that means I need you to move over 1. So I'll have you go 1. Or should I have you go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 wounds currently in the stack. So let's have Nami do the ballad again. The Ballad of Perfection. Archive 7 wounds from the stack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect hits are now +1. Then we can have her go 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you have broken legs? You do. 3, 4. I could have her surge. Don't need her to just yet. We'll see what happens. But we'll have you move over 1 so that try to avoid getting hit by that. 4 attacks hitting on 6s. But here's how we do it. We roll 1 at a time because the razor symbol says make attack rolls 1 at a time. For each hit, the monster suffers -1 evasion until the end of its attack. So this one hits on 6s. That's a 7. So that means this one hits on 5s. 4s. 3s. That's 4 hits. Technically one of them was a perfect hit. Not that it matters. We have 4 spots. Jaunty Horns. If knocked down, Atnas stands with a hearty laugh and faces the attacker. This could be bad for us. My strength is 4, 5, 6, 7 to the bleeding. I'm looking for 4s. That's a 1. I'm going to Guardian. Oh, wait a minute. let me ask a question here. You're blind. Do you have line of sight? Do you have line of sight if you're blind? Have I been truly countered? I don't see any immediate rules about line of sight / field of view being affected by blind. So, for all intents and purposes, we can do this. So we'll have Sandy take a systemic pressure token and allow Ben here to reroll. Looking for 4s. Oh, there we go. A crit. You splinter a horn, gain +1 courage, and 1 broken lantern. I actually really need that. The lantern and the crit. +1 courage doesn't do anything for me for now, but we take those. Let's see. Jolly Rump ends my attack. You would knock yourself down, Atnas. That would knock down Atnas as well. So let's go with the Giggling Grimace first. 4s. A 9, that's a wound. Then the Knobby Knuckles. This is actually looking for 6s. Because there's a +2 to wound this location. That's a fail. Then the Jolly Rump, 4s. That's also a fail. I can't keep using Guardian 2 because it's once per showdown. But that wasn't bad. Okay, let's see if I can somehow get away from danger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I go like that. Well, I wonder how much danger I'm in, considering now the monster only has 2 health. We know what card it is. It's the 4-inch draw, which just deals out Swordcraft cards. So really, the only thing I'm worried about here is drawing bad hit locations. But I think we can be okay here. Let me surge with Ben. Accuracy, 6. That's a no. 6, that's a yes, so 5s. No. 2 hits. That's all we need, man. Okay, let's go for the Dashing Coat button. 4, 5, 6, 7, 4s. Got it. 1 health remaining. Wound. Atnus falls to its knees, howling with laughter. The monster is knocked down. Unless the attacker is deaf, Atnus trills pierces their eardrums, knocking them down as well. Okay, now that the monster is knocked down, I can have Nami surge. 2 attacks, hitting on 3s. That's a 1. That's all I need. Jangling Krakau's. Strength is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Also looking for a 4. Let's go! Fuck! Okay. This is fine, this is fine, this is fine. Let me dash out of here just in case. And go 1, 2, 3, 4. Just in case. Just in case. Just in case anything weird happens. Okay. Sandy, Legendary Lungs. I didn't use it before, let me use it now. That's 2 hits. That's only 2 hits. 1, 2. Got it. Stance Punked. Atnus stands and faces the attacker. -4 toughness to this location. So that means, again, we're looking at a 7. My strength is 5. 6. We're looking for a 2+. 2+. Got it. You are dead. And I retire blind. Victory at what cost? That's heartbreaking. That is so heartbreaking. Mike dies, but worst of all, Sandy is blind and retires. She can no longer go out unless a miracle happens. So what do we get for our efforts? Victory, 1 hunt XP, and rewards. We also get 1 weapon proficiency or 1 sword proficiency. Let's go for the regular proficiency everyone else has. And then we roll 1d10 and add Atnus' level to the roll. Results. Gain the listed gifts and add them to the record sheet. So, a 2 becomes a 3. A bag with an illegible note inside. We gain 2 iron. That's not bad. I'll take 2 iron. But now we return home to lick our wounds and guide the blind back. And we're back. I've done another speed settlement phase, and I think I'll be doing this for the foreseeable future just because it lets me kind of do it all in one shot while still accommodating for potential randomness. So, here's what we got going on. We've set up the settlement phase. Our survivors return, 4 of them. And yes, although our scout dies, the other survivors take on the role of the scout, drag their body to the settlement, bring their gear. As long as 1 person survives, we keep everything. But if the scout's the only person who survives, then we do the scout event thing to determine whether or not we keep our gear. The scout essentially runs away and potentially takes our gear with us. Okay, otherwise, we gain our endeavors, 4 of them. We update the timeline, so now we are in year 10 proper. We gain our settlement event, which we don't get to do the scout lantern and draw 2 and pick 1, we only get to draw the 1. Strangers in the dark. We roll 1d10. A 3. The stranger is a playful woman of unparalleled beauty, clad in what appears to be living tongues. The men of the settlement are instantly captivated, while the women are filled with jealousy and suspicion, eventually chasing the stranger away. Male survivors cannot depart this settlement phase as they are physically ill from lovesickness. Departing female survivors gain +10 survival. If the settlement has the guidepost innovation, the stranger effortlessly plucks the lantern halberd from the ground as she is chased away. Archive the guidepost. For those of you who don't know, that stranger was Satan. or at least the person who calls themselves Satan, or at least the person known as Satan. It's interesting imagery. But that is that. So we update the timeline, we update the death count. One person has died, Mike, and because we are cannibals, we then pick their body for love juice. Okay. I would have definitely preferred hide, because now we move on to milestones. But before, or after that rather, when we go into development, I needed a hide in order to innovate. I cannot innovate this year. I do not have the hide resource to do so. So, unfortunate. Milestones. Let's go with the most important one here. Collective Cognition 13. Defeating Atnus gave us 3, putting us from 10 to 13. And check out what we got. Sated Enlightenment. Attain Tier 2 philosophies. Add 3 random Tier 2 philosophy cards to the Settlement Philosophy deck. The next time a survivor adopts a philosophy, draw cards until you draw a Tier 2 philosophy. So, there are 5 here. We're just going to grab 3 at random. We won't know what they are until we draw them. 1, 2, 3. These 2 will not be seen this campaign. So then we take our philosophies, shuffle them up, whoopity-doo-dah. 2 milestones that we did hit was for Ben, our Qatar user, and Nami, our leader and club user. Ben reached rank 3 Facism, and Nami is rank 2 Survivalism. Let's go for the uninteresting one first. Nami, Survivalism, rank 2. Trust, Fear. We've seen this before, where we're going to gain 1 Lumi and roll 1d10. A 3. You cast your eyes around the settlement and see nothing but threats to your survival. Fear extinguishes love. You will throw anyone in the monster's path if it means saving yourself. Gain the knowledge Meat Shield. Because our collective cognition is 13, we also get a bonus. You tap your guilt and paranoia to construct a decoy out of lanterns and debris. You practice swapping places with it and using your body weight to roll behind it. Gain Tumble. So, 2 knowledges. Meat Shield says, before resolving damage from a monster's move and attack action, you may exchange places with the survivors adjacent to you. They suffer any damage in your stead. A switched survivor cannot perform Meat Shield or dodge. That's really good if you're selfish, which guess what? People who have the survivalism philosophy have the neurosis called selfish. And when given the option, they must choose to use Meat Shield. But just because I have to choose to use it doesn't mean I have to choose to gain it. I mean, I do because, first off, Nami has a spot left on her knowledge board. So she gains it, but then she also gains Tumble, which I can then use to replace Meat Shield. What does Tumble say? When something would collide with you, roll 1d10. On a 7+, you successfully tumble out of harm's way. Instead, place your survivor standing on the closest free space outside of the collision path. If you can tumble twice, you upgrade Tumble. Alright, I'll take that, considering it's new content. Then we have Ben, who is quite frankly our MVP of that game. Rank 3 Facism. The Endless Equation, yet again. See what you got. +1 Lumi and... what is that? A 6. That is also the Stoneface Engraver ability. So, cool. We'll take it. Would have liked something new. I don't think these stack, or perhaps they do. You reshape faces. When a survivor adopts a philosophy, they draw an additional card and choose one to adopt. So, cool. With milestones out of the way, we then go to development. Because of that broken lantern we so luckily got, I can now make the Harpy Harp using the Whistletooth that I saved from last year and the Singing Tongue from last year. The Harpy Harp will go to our Qatar user. They deserve it. You ignore overwhelming darkness. That's great until we can get Song of the Brave. Your noisy weapons gain +1 strength for each instrument in your grid. Guess what? Each of those razor symbols are an instrument, plus this is an instrument, meaning that the guitar user will essentially get +3 on all their attacks. And the razor symbols already have an innate strength of 4, that's 7, plus bonuses. They're in a very good spot in terms of wounding output. That is that. We have our sword user here who is a mentor. Sarah can use an endeavor to pick a survivor and have them gain +2 Lumi, +2 experience. I can have that be anyone, really, but I'll choose a baby. It'll be her daughter, who is unnamed currently, but with +2 XP, that gives them a philosophy. And we get Verminism. Now, technically, I get to draw 2 additional ones. We have Dreamism and Regalism. Regalism sounds much better, but Verminism sounds pretty cool. Let's go with Regal. Regalism says their neurosis is an inferiority complex. You feel inferior and must confirm this bias. You may not depart if you have the highest strength among all departing survivors. You may not depart if you have the highest strength. I imagine that means innate strength, but that could be problematic. Your tenet is find the castle. You find a new way to move. Perhaps it will take you to the sky. While insane, you may move 1 space diagonally during your movement action. When you use this, gain an observation. You need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times before this upgrades. That seems pretty interesting. And then your rank 1. Regalism. Castle in the distance. Far away you see a castle in the air. Despite its distance, you feel like you are there. You hear the smacking of sated lips and feel the warmth of bright lanterns bathing your skin. There is a lord in this castle whose noble aura cows the beasts in the darkness. You sit and daydream of the keep in your mind. Gain +1 Lumi and roll 1d10. 7. You instinctually know that you are not worthy to walk the castle halls. You are ablaze with the desire for self-improvement and you throw yourself to this task. Your relentless training bears fruit. Gain +1 strength. That's not good. It's good, but it's not good. This new baby is a newborn and will get 2 strength initially. With this, they'll get 3, meaning I can't take this kid out because I don't think anyone else can rival their strength yet. But hey, high strength babies, we take that, I guess. Speaking of, we can use love juice to create a new baby. We will take our retired axe user Sandy and, who else? Jeff. Sandy on the left, Jeff on the right. 9 becomes a 10 because they are well fed. A 10 is a pair of healthy newborns. The parents beam with pride. We gain +2 population if we have a grand feast, which we do because we gain 3 collective cognition in 1 year, thanks to defeating 1 nemesis. The newborns eat, sleep, play, and learn together. Name the newborns immediately, and then draw 5 knowledge cards. Each child gains a knowledge from among these cards. They cannot gain the same knowledge. Well, this is interesting. I imagine these stay here because they are drawn and they're at the forum. But these kids should be Blanc and Noir for the lights and the darkness. We get Tenacity 3, Blood Dancer 3, Lantern Souls, that's garbage, let's put that away. Accuracy Training 2, and Stoneheart 2. You know what? These are not bad to spread amongst people. Let's see. Noir will be our female. She'll definitely get Blood Dancer. And she won't need that. She will go for Stoneheart. And Blanc will get Tenacity 3 and Accuracy Training 2. Very cool. Not to mention, if we innovated Hovel, which we did, their humble abode grants a sense of safety, allowing the children to flourish in the darkness, and they both will gain +1 Lumi. So these twins have a lot going for them. And to commemorate their mother, who is blind, their last name is Butcher. And as such, they will both gain half of her weapon proficiency in axe, rounded down, which has them both start at 1. Humble beginnings. But the axe family is not extinguished yet, for the axe remains. After that, we can try face painting, because we want to make sure that these newborns have some good stuff. 4, that's +2 survival, +1 insanity. Completed. Now, with these remaining 2 endeavors, I don't know what to do. I don't think there are cool things inside the innovation deck that call for cool endeavors. There's the weapon training one, but that's whatever. For now, let's try augury. Let's see if we can't make babies naturally. A 10 will be an intimacy. So let's make more babies. Let's go for a kid from Sarah. Sarah and her unnamed husband. Sarah on the left, husband on the right. Same thing, a pair of newborns with a grand feast. I imagine these get shuffled back in. This is a new generation. Their names will be Luke and Leia. We have Meat Shield, that's not good. Find the Castle, that's alright. Serial Code, that's not good. Lantern Souls, that's not good. Blood Dancer 3. Let's see. Luke will get Blood Dancer and Find the Castle. Leia will get Lantern Souls and Serial Code. They also gain all the bonuses and all the benefits. Let's try making another kid. A 3. Lose 1 resource of your choice and gain +1 understanding. Now this is secretly what I wanted, because I've been having a hard time getting understanding. I need someone to pump understanding into, and I'll pump it into Nami because I think no one else has more than 1 understanding. So let's have our leader be the person who gets it. Unfortunately, that causes us to lose a resource. I'll have it be tail fat, I don't really care. And that will be the endeavors done. Now, there's a lot I can still do, because we have a lot of Lumi to go around. Now that we have tier 2 philosophies, and now that we have stone face engravers, I can start spending this Lumi to start mentoring people. We haven't unlocked philosophy lecture just yet, but from here, mentorship means that we can nominate a survivor to gain 1 hunt experience. If we keep pumping experience into newborns, like the ones we've just gotten, they can gain tier 2 philosophies, so that these kids can go out ready to fight. And in fact, they may be the ones going next year. Of course, only the women, because something with Satan. And I think we're going to be going after Crimson Crocodiles, because I can't get any more collective cognition from level 2 Smog Singers, and I don't need anything else from them, necessarily. So Crocodiles will be the way to go for me for now. I'm going to have to do another pause, let my battery recharge, and figure out how I'm going to spend all this Lumi. And I'll be right back. Although this has been a simple year, this has probably been the most productive year. So, be right back. Alright, I think I've got it figured out. I've used up the Lumi of 6 different survivors here. James now has 1. Jeff now has 0. Babs now has 1. Nami now has 1. Randy now has 0. And Jose now has 1. Those 6 survivors gave out 6 points of experience. 2 each to Noir, Leia, and Dana. These 3 survivors will now gain new philosophies. And thanks to the stone face engraver, I get to draw 2 extra and pick 1. So I'm hoping for new content here. But what I'm really hoping for is our Regal survivor here, Hope. I need someone to match her strength so that Hope can come out to the next hunt. Right now, these are all new survivors, which means they all get the new and improved newborn bonuses, putting them all at 1 accuracy, 2 strength, 2 evasion. I'm going to go with Noir and Leia first and then Dana, because Noir and Leia, they have a starting Lumi of 1 thanks to the special event that birthed them. Getting a philosophy will put them to 2 Lumi, and then I can give one of them strength training. So, Noir, you will get... Here's a new option, Optimism. Isn't that just apt? Let's see how good Optimism is. Life's good. Optimism's neurosis is important. When you depart, if your total number of armor points after all bonuses is higher than each other survivors, you are full of confidence. Gain survival up to the limit, otherwise lose all survival. Great, so now Hope needs to be not the strongest, and Noir needs to be the most well-armored. The tenet is positivity. On arrival, if your survival is at the limit, gain 1 reroll token. In the aftermath, if your survival is still at the survival limit, gain 1 observation. This goes into the knowledge deck. Sounds useful so far. Your rank 1 is a moment of clarity. Each time you awaken, there's a moment of drowsy peace. You are weightless in that blank instant of unrestrained hope before the menace of death, and the bleak prospect of life descends like crushing weight on your chest. You want to live in this moment. Gain 1 Lumi and roll 1d10. A 5. You spend every waking instant trying to prolong these unmarred moments, but the inevitable realization always resurfaces. You lay motionless for ages, pushing and tugging at the stubborn edges of reality. You will find a way to cast a light into the darkness. Gain believe in yourself and +1 understanding. Believe in yourself says, you believe in yourself. You are guardless, which means you can't ignore hits. On arrival, if your survival is at the limit, gain 1 evasion token. During the aftermath, if you have no filled heavy injury boxes, gain 1 observation. I will take that and replace Stoneheart with it. Believe in yourself. I'm not convinced that I want Noir to be the person who gets strength training. So I'll put her off to the side and look to Leia. Leia, please be cooler. Dreamism, Survivalism, Lanternism. Ooh, all of these are actually not great. Perhaps Dreamism should be the way to go. Dreamism gives us access to Guardian, Survivalism gives us access to Tenacity, and Lanternism, I actually don't know what that does too well. The few lanterns that we have haven't made it very far in their philosophy, but I don't want Leia to be the guinea pig for that. So Leia will adopt Dreamism. Dreamism gives them the neurosis sleepless, can't gain survival during the hunt or showdown, but the tenet Guardian, which goes to Guardian 2. Then they have a dream about a massive figure, which then gives them an observation in their tenet. Thanks. And +1 understanding. As much as I don't necessarily like it, I will give Leia here Dreamism because her other knowledges are not great otherwise. It will replace Lantern Souls, and it'll put her to +3 strength, putting her on par with Hope, meaning the 2 of them can depart. And lastly, we have Dana. Survivalism, Marrowism, Lanternism. I try my best to shuffle, I really do. Let's go with Marrowism, perhaps? Just to kind of see what that is. I know we already have another Marrowism survivor, but I have a feeling Dana will push further than the other one. She's arrogant as her neurosis and has osteophage as her tenet. Then we see what she feels about untouched treasures, gaining 1 Lumi and rolling a 7. You eagerly collect inedible crumbs of bone spat from a hastily carved monster meat. You crunch and crunch with hopeful vigor. Gain +1 strength. Our collective cognition is 13, so we meet the milestone. You suck the nutritious marrow right through the crack of a joint. Your digestive system seems eager, digesting efficiently. You are invigorated. Next time you depart, add 1 armor to all hit locations. And that'll be that. I still have 2 survivors with a lot of Lumi on them. Ben has 5 and Sarah Paz has 7. Everyone else really only has 1. I'll keep the Lumi on those survivors for now so that I can give them to the male newborns for subsequent years. For now, it looks like Hope Paz, Dana Bold, Noir Butcher, Leia Paz, and Cat Rocket from way back when. I never actually took her out on any adventure. She'll be our scout. So those will be the 5 lovely ladies that take us on our first fight against a level 2 Crimson Crocodile. So, I hope you'll join us next year as our Kingdom Death Monster campaign is still going strong. I may have effectively lost 2 survivors, but I'm building up a new generation of potent survivors thanks to the newborn bonuses I have already in my settlements. And now that tier 2 philosophies are in the game, we could get stronger knowledges as we explore those philosophies. But this game doesn't take it easy ever. I've just been getting lucky and I acknowledge that. So if you've been enjoying the series, make sure you like the video, comment below, and subscribe to the channel so that you can stay up to date for when these videos are pumped out. Your support means a lot to me and is the reason why I go through all of the effort to put out these videos. But that's all for now. Thank you all for watching.